Welcome back, friends. This is Focus Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, hosted by The Onyx Path, and supported by all you lovely, lovely people who are out there subbing, following, subscribing, the other kind of subscribing, all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much. Shout out to the podcast folks who put up with me doing the bare minimum. I hope it's working for you. If it's not and you're running into issues, please come by Discord, because I don't do podcasts. So if something is weird, please let me know. And a special shout out to our patrons who support us monetarily. Thank you to Adele, Al, Alan Michael, Alexander, Angfaleth, Bernie, Blood Angel, Brendan, Chris, Cream Cheese with Bagel, Daniel, Delore, Emil, Funzusurali, generic background NPC camo, George, Jack, Jenny, John, Josh, Julian, Catfeathers, Crazyman1772, Melissa, Michael, Milo V3, Moku, Neo Magus, Noba, Parker, Perry, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Shixara, Senna, Taryn, The Arcane, Thomas, Toast, Usaf-sama, Vortex, Why Am I Still Green, Woodfoot, and Zoltan. You're green. You know what you did.
You know what you did.
So yes, and if you don't understand what being green means, you need to come by Discord and say something really dumb. Maybe talk shit about Venom.
So that's what they did?
I think so. I can't remember.
Wow.
Yeah,
all I know is the green name changes.
The top of hubris.
Yeah. Talk shit, turn green. So, yes, welcome back to 1846 Colorado, or what will be Colorado, where in Purgatory Bluffs, 4 mages have finally realized that there are 4 mages in this town.
Finally, we're what? Episode what?
It took us 4 episodes.
I mean, some of us have been here for months, though.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. For the longest time, you guys have kind of been in your own little worlds, and there's been a little Venn diagram overlap,
right,
but not enough to necessarily notice each other. And for a lot of you, especially in the case of like Ash's character, I almost said Cassandra, Gisela, is, kind of not using magic all too often because she's also concerned about curses and, all the magical stuff that Cloak does is fairly subtle and, not, warping worlds. Well, I don't think anybody can warp worlds yet, because you all went with subtle arcana. Right. But yes, we pick up now. Man, I really feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing something? No, okay, we did all our normal intro stuff. Anyways,
yeah, it's time for the Mad Tea Party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
After the events of basically earlier this morning, now that I think about it, I know what I'm missing. There we go. I didn't have Roll20 pulled up so I could see it, because that's how I cheat and remember what everybody's names are. But yeah, it has been a wild morning, as everybody kind of does a bit of celebration and hang out because the Enright Bridge is open and we're celebrating it, which quickly became an opportunity for Cloak, Gisela, and Isabel to all prod the Royal Society and try and figure out what they're up to, which basically came out with not much information, though Gisela accidentally stumbled into kind of social faux pas-ing and figured out, okay, well, they're setting up telescopes.
I got invited to go. By the person who's not in charge, so.
Right. So how good that invitation is, who knows? But, yeah. I mean, they like you. You brought them pastries. So, yes. And then later that afternoon, Theo and Cloak basically tugged on some ears and bent some arms and arranged that everybody should come have tea over at Theo's wagon just outside of town, which of course, just outside of town is literally throw a rock. It's over there. You can see it. But it's a little bit off enough that, Theo and Catherine feel safe. And, are able to leave if they need to. I feel like we may pick up with Theo already there, probably prepping and making tea. And then people will arrive at a narratively appropriate and player-decided time.
I mean, Cloak and Isabel are arriving together.
Okay.
Because he more or less forced her.
Was that a like
gunpoint.
we're going there now
At
kind
gunpoint.
of conversation?
Wait, he was at gunpoint, but
Right.
At gunpoint nonetheless makes it sound better.
And just for the record, Catherine and Volosia are out,
Right,
doing errands or.
Well, I mean, they're probably enjoying the celebration.
Sure,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I would show up whenever you asked. So, like, at whatever the time you gave me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we were talking like afternoon tea, if I remember correctly. So,
right.
what, like 2?
Yeah.
Sure.
That sounds good.
So, welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Things are a little humble around here. We're not big fancy folks, so pull up a stump and we've got some tea and biscuits.
It's hard to be fancy in the frontier.
Or when you don't have a house.
This is an interesting assortment of guests.
Yeah, but we are pretty
We are
different,
the 4
but
wizards in town.
Did you say wizards?
Stomp.
I'm just kidding. Cloak actually doesn't interrupt you. I'm just joking.
We've through various things, we have come to understand that the 4 of us have a lot more in common than might appear on the surface.
You sure about that?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Pretty sure. I don't know how it all works for you. Geez, would I even know about flaring my nimbus?
That might be something that you
Instinctively.
could recognize, because I mean that's
Instinctively,
it's a
I would feel like
basic
it's a part of you.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
It's a part of you.
And for me, it's because like your nimbus happens kind of naturally, so I feel like this is the mage equivalent to intentionally exhaling versus just breathing
Flexing
normally.
a muscle.
It's like
Yeah.
flexing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So since I invited, I guess I'll start. And I flare
Flare
my
your nimbus. Roll Gnosis plus. I think it's just Gnosis.
It's just gnosis.
Just
Gnosis?
gnosis.
Just gnosis?
Is that to see if it works?
So how strong it is.
That's to see the
Okay.
strength, and then whether or
Strength
not
of the
if
tilt.
you have active mage sight on, you're subject to the tilt. But if you have it on, then you witness it.
If you flare it,
I thought you
just
saw it when it was
happens.
flared, no matter what.
Oh, that's right. If you want
This
to
is how you
flare
can
it, so
show it
everyone
to-
can
It
see
costs
it
a mana to
regardless of
flare,
sight.
right?
Sleepers,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
So I'm not trying to drain everybody's composure or anything. I just want them to see it. So
Well, and bear in mind, of course, that only affects rolls, not the
Mhm.
actual stat. Well, no successes. And
It's okay.
For-
it still
for-
happens,
right,
from my
and-
understanding.
yeah, and based on this, it rolls Gnosis and uses successes as the Nimbus's strength. So the flare happens no matter
Yeah.
what. It just has no strength, which no, Theo meant to do that. She was pulling her punches. So go ahead and because what is your Nimbus, and feel free to get a little flashy here, specifically because this is what they are experiencing, and and put Theo kind of there in the center of it, so they have an idea.
Theo just kind of holds out her hands, and you see like little spirits sort of extend out from her and fly off into the darkness, and the shadows get a little bit deeper, and you can feel like the ghostly feeling of very light silk draping across your skin, and that kind of stuff. And you can hear little whispers happening in the periphery of your hearing.
And Gisel's gone.
Yeah, like that's very close to making me just get up and leave.
Which, I mean, if that's what it does, then we can role play through that.
I'm going to.
And all of it, like I would ping all of your your passive.
I mean,
mage dice,
it's
right?
flared. You
That's
just
true.
see it.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, but notably,
It's in the-
also
You're also-
triggering everybody's
Yeah.
peripheral
You're
insight too.
supernally aware of it as well, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Passive mage dice.
Yeah, I'm going to not leave, but look incredibly uncomfortable.
Stand up.
Just
Cloak looks at Theo and says, "May I?"
Please do. And visibly steps back to surrender the sage.
He says, "Mademoiselle Power,
Mhm.
I want you to do something, which I'm sure you know how to do. I want you to touch my hand, and I want you to see what attaches me to the world, what I care about, and I will surrender to your probings."
don't know if that's how that spell works.
Well, and this is very likely Cloak expecting that you do the same things that he does. So,
He doesn't know what you do. He
Mhm.
just figures if you can know something about me, you might know something that's important. So in general terms, you think about chains, but if you don't think of chains, it's probably just stay.
I'm trying to read how.
interconnections you can cast
So-
on yourself, and then you can
Yeah.
view the
And there's
linkages.
also, with creative thaumaturgy, there are various
Mhm.
ways to use a fate knowing spell to know things about a person based
That's
on
what I
their
was
fate.
trying to figure out because that seems like what interconnections
Mhm.
does, but in the wording it doesn't say that.
that's why.
Interconnections 100% is looking at two things and understanding what the connection is between them. So, like, this could be anything from Cloak and his Asan. Is that the
Mhm.
right pronunciation? Asan?
Son.
Asan. Or even the connection that is now between Cloak and Isabel and
Mhm.
threatened, So, yeah, you would see, a bunch of faint blue lines.
I'm
Hey,
gonna do that
he's in
for-
Fortnite now.
Do we push or pull?
I want to do that for Cloak and Theo
Well,
because I
and
want to know why she's
interconnections
here.
is cast on yourself, and then
Is
you
it?
can study. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's actually a very, very useful spell for just like walking around with.
Hmm.
Because if you the spell reveals marks on up to one subject per person, and then the mage can detect sympathetic connections between subjects. Well, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah,
Based
the
on
subjects of the people you're casting it on.
Yeah.
I guess
You can
that's
cast it
true.
on one subject per turn.
Well, you observe one subject per turn, but yeah, you would cast it on everybody. That said, you could do an AoE and just be like everything here.
Should I roll for this?
Yeah.
You could also, the advantage of creative thaumaturgy is you don't have to rely on the descriptions and rotes, right? You can just describe the effect you want to have, and if it makes sense that it's within the purview of the arcanum and the practice.
I guess just to reach. Because I'm going to reach out and touch you to get it.
Sounds
So
good.
for like instant and scale so I can look around.
Mm-hmm.
And I will use my seeing stone.
Mm-hmm.
4 dice.
Sure.
1 success.
Alrighty.
That's all you need. Yeah. So
I want to see basically how fate has brought everyone here.
that's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm gonna hijack your spell just slightly. Instead of casting on Cloak Legs, it can cast it on an area and put that same effect here.
Oh yeah, that's why I had the scale. 'Cause
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so lots of interconnected little lines. Some are larger, some are smaller. and kind of leaning in, and like I said, and some of this is you kind of pick up some of the meta knowledge that you've already got, of like, okay, Isabel was threatened, Theo and Cloak had we say a heart to heart, or at least a
I would say more of a tete-a-tete, sure.
Sure, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
A little bit of a back and forth. You can see probably, some kind of like guilt between you and Theo. Probably Theo feeling bad for like potentially, running you off, or I don't. Well, what? How does Theo feel about that now?
Well, she doesn't really know what. She just knows that something she did spooked her. But
right, and that was my thing. Is like, what did Theo feel guilty for that, or was it just like, ooh, what did I do?
Well, yeah, Theo thought it was more that it was more about her than it was about Theo.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, curious about her reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. There are connections here.
There are. More than just that which connects us to each other. And if you need further proof that we have something in common, I can tell you things about yourself that I should not be able to know.
Don't let him do that.
Isabel is afraid of the knowledge she has, allowing others to manipulate her.
I gently put a hand on Cloak's shoulder. People are normally wanting privacy of their thoughts. It's the one place where we are truly private. It can be threatening for somebody to invade them.
Well, we can only transcend that fear if we release ourselves from its burden.
I'm curious. What can you tell me?
May I touch you? And he reaches out his hand. And he's going to cast No Nature.
Oh, and just in case anybody's wondering, we're definitely rolling all this stuff, specifically because if anybody has to start overreaching, I want to keep track of the paradox that might build up around this little tea party.
Yeah.
That's per person, though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. As before, this is instant cast and the reach adder to give obsessions and aspirations, and then I'm spending a point of willpower to give me a bonus 3 dice. So let's roll it up. I'll roll 7 dice. Cool. All right. So the total things I get are your vice, virtue, aspirations, and obsessions, and the total number of dots you have in mental and social attributes.
Don't start Ash talking about how many dice she has.
Dice, you say? I'm here for that too, though. You want to talk to me about your dice?
I have 15 dots in mental and social attributes.
Okay.
Virtue is determined. Vice is pessimistic. My aspirations, I want to look into whatever caused the prime ping, like what I was reading is prime. I don't know if you get that, but
prime, yes, but yeah.
Gain more confidence in using these powers. And figure out the details of my family's curse.
Ooh, okay.
That is the obsession.
That's the obsession?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got look into whatever caused the prime ping, gain more confidence. What was your long-term aspiration?
That is a long-term aspiration, more confidence in magic.
Okay.
I only had the one.
Oh, only one short-term aspiration. Okay, sounds good. And then obsession is figure out your family is going on with your family's curse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ralph, you can look at those in Roll20.
Oh, yeah. It's helpful for me to
Yeah.
actually take handwritten notes. I appreciate you for reminding me that, Chris.
Yeah, I forget as well.
Cool. No, it's helpful. No harm done. So Cloak does that, touches your hand, releases it, nods, and says, I see goals and needs as chains. I think that we are connected to the world through the chains that bind us to the ground and the chains that pull us into the heavens. There is a chain that pulls you into the heavens, and it is your obsession with determining what is happening with your family's curse. It consumes you. You think about it all the time, and it is the primary driver of your experiments with magic, voodoo, whatever we all call it. It allows us to affect our will.
It has been the primary driver of everything I've done since I was a small child.
It can be a burden. And then he turns to Isabel and says,
Oh, do you get info on like destinies with that also?
oh, no.
That's fate. Knowing
Yeah.
gives you that.
Yeah. So he says, it can be a burden, says to Kisela, and says, and he turns to Isabel and says, kind of with like a conciliatory shrug, it can also be a source of freedom.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about half the time. And the other time, I know you're wrong.
How do you know I'm wrong?
Because I don't see chains.
That does not mean I'm wrong. It means you see things differently.
Because I see a bear, and he points at you. A buzzard, he points at Theo. And a scared little deer.
Have you ever seen a bear trap?
Yep.
Sometimes bears get caught in chains.
Sure. But that's not primarily what they do.
I think there are many ways to see the world.
Dragged through something by a lead. I crawled through the wastes and fought tooth and claw for this. Everything that I have earned through my skills, my dominance, and the blessings of the Lord above. You can see the world differently. That's fine. But do not presume to tell me that I am held back.
Cloak
It's okay,
shrugs.
guys. Chris and Ralph still like each other. Just go ahead and get this one out. Because, yeah. This is
People are
probably
often-
not the only time.
People are often resistant to transitions.
Well put, Theo.
I mean, a while ago we were effectively strangers. Now we're transitioning into something else.
Are we?
Are we?
Well, we know something about each other. That, however we do it, we have a way to impose our will on the world around us in different ways.
I don't find that as a comfort.
Yeah, does that make us friends?
I didn't say it did. I just said it was different. That we share something, a commonality.
I think there may be a helpful way to put it. We have learned new things about each other that may inform the choices we make in our future interactions. We may not like each other, and Cloak turns to Isabel and says, but that may be one-sided. And he tries to affect a smile.
I imagine it's like a bearing of fangs.
Yeah, just
a
grimace.
And he says, we all feel threatened when people learn things about us and our privacy is encroached on. And it seems that we are forming relationships with people sooner than we'd like or in ways that we don't expect. I like to speak plainly, so I will do so again the way I did with Theo earlier. I'm in this town and for the foreseeable future. I did not choose to be here. Well, let me put it differently. I would not have chosen to be here if it weren't the best choice to protect the people in my care. And across an ocean and an even more indescribably vast distance, I transported myself and others to come here. I intend to explore what is available to me, what connects me to Bondier, what Vardo has offered me. And I could be a useful and powerful friend to anyone, or an extremely threatening enemy if they endanger the people in my care. I would prefer the former with everyone here. I would prefer to break down the boundaries that keep us from appreciating each other, that maintain the hate we are supposed to feel for each other as a consequence of our boundaries, our backgrounds, and our identities. But that is up to you. I get the impression that Theo and I have implicitly chosen at least a burgeoning kinship. Mademoiselle Bauer, Senora Pilar, if you two wish to join in that, collectively or individually, that is up to you.
I'll add that I've been like this for some time now, and I have never met a single person that can do the kinds of things that we can do.
I don't believe in coincidences.
So
And the fact that there are 4 of us here is too much to be a coincidence.
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, Cloak nods agreeably.
It's not the strangest thing that's happened to me, but you might have a point. So, chains. Ghosts?
I seem to have an affinity for them, yeah.
Okay. And you?
Eventualities?
What?
She wouldn't know that word. Fates. The strings that pull us along different paths. Possibilities.
Okay.
And how about
And
you?
you?
The world?
I think it's a little different than that.
The natural. The
Plants and animals.
The creatures that live in it. And their reflections. Their She's like thinking through like several different languages to try and figure out how to say this.
Throw it out in
Uh,
high speech. Throw it out in high speech.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good idea. Like it's like instinctual, right? It's just like not finding the right word, and then she just fucking says spirit.
Oh.
And for everybody that goes, hey, I understood that.
Yeah. Then Cloak realizes something and says chains in high speech.
Okay, that's fucked up.
Because, of course, it's a different meaning than
Right.
how he means it.
All right. And she like actually sits down for the first time.
Clearly, this might take a minute.
Right.
Cloak says, I would like to offer something, if you all would invite it.
Well, let's hear it first.
Yeah.
Great. I think that I can connect our minds.
Isabel is like, I just said.
Mm.
Yeah, I know that I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I think that you would be in charge of what anyone else sees or hears. I just would like to bare myself to you, if that's something you would like to see.
Gears are definitely turning for Theo.
Yeah. Cloak said we said, so he's waiting.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that level of intimacy with anyone.
Wow.
Although I appreciate the intent of the offer. This has all been a lot to take in. I think maybe save that for another time for me.
Are you casting a spell mid-conversation?
A
Yes,
time
I am.
spell.
Pulling
No
out.
manners having woman.
Yes, I'm pulling out a card.
Cool. Roll it. And, well, actually, yeah, because you can ask a question after you roll.
Jesus. Okay.
Dude, jeez.
That's impressive.
I had 6 dice.
Oh, yeah.
6
Wow.
dice and
6
one
successes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just reaching and flipping a card, and my question was just, will working with these people help me with my goals?
Cool. Before I answer that, real quick, don't forget you get a willpower because that's an exceptional success.
Yes.
And then what do you want to do with your exceptional? Do you want an additional step, so an additional question, or a condition, or mana?
I'll take a condition.
Okay, cool. Which I think in this case is probably going to be... I keep feeling like I keep coming back to empathy, but...
Yeah, it's a favorite of yours.
Well, especially when you're all like trying to figure out stuff. Yeah, empathy is kind of the go-to one. If anybody else has a suggestion, feel free to throw it out. Pull up the old character sheet here. Which also, is everybody else's character sheet looking a little funny?
Mine looks fine.
Looks fine
Yeah,
to me.
I'm not noticing.
My
any problem.
dots are off-center and a little weird.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's peculiar. Yeah, I was about to say investigation. Noctal just suggested investigation.
Yeah,
So
not a bad one. Yeah, actually, I think investigation works because that doesn't necessarily
Give
need
them
to be
the
a
credit.
scene because that could be investigating
Right.
people. Yeah, that doesn't hurt. And then yeah, okay. So yeah, the question: will it help? Yes, yes, it definitely will help.
Okay. Then You all have seen me just pull out a deck of cards, shuffle it, and then flip one.
And we all feel you casting a spell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
I'll do whatever it is that you would like.
that's very accommodating.
Suspiciously
Flip a little
so.
card. It will help me.
Well, then I have a request.
Mhm.
If any of you find out what Mortimer's experiment is, please tell me if it may prove dangerous to the rest of the town.
Now, a quick question, because I know out of character we keep calling him Mortimer. Does everybody?
Oh, sorry. No. He doesn't call him that. I'd say Monsieur Bethune. That's right.
Sure.
I was consistent with that before. I made a mistake here. Thanks. So to revise, Cloak would say, if any of you find out the nature of Monsieur Bethune's experiment, please tell me if it seems dangerous to the town.
Of course.
Isabel's just looking
I'm
at.
trying to find out what it is for my own curiosities.
Great.
Theo, how did we not notice each other?
Well, I didn't notice any of you until...
No, but
Cool.
like we've been working together.
Sure, but I can feel it when you folks are using your powers, and I'm sure you can feel it when I use mine. Nobody was using those abilities around me until the stranger showed up. And then I felt a couple of different events that led me to believe that something was going on, and I did some poking around a little bit. And I first discovered that Miss Bauer was like me. I can see that.
Sure.
And then I felt something else that was different. It had a different sense, a different flavor. And I was poking around the next day, and that's when Monsieur Broussard and I started our conversation. And then he told me, was it he told me?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You had you knew there was one more, but you didn't know who it was.
Right. And I knew that there was at least one more.
And you saw the marks on the flute.
And I saw that your flute was doing special things. And I put
Not
two
the
and two
flute.
together.
Not the flute.
No, but
Well, no.
something
not the
caused
It's not the flute.
Well, I saw the residues of whatever was done on the flute.
It's what's inside the flute.
Okay. To the casual observer, those might be indistinguishable.
Then you should strive to not be so casual.
The point is...
Isabel and smiling.
Well,
An object-
and the best part there is because we're talking about spirit to the Moros.
Yep.
The point is that I felt something to my extra senses, and I saw an effect appear on your flute.
Sure.
So that led me to conclude that you
I woke it up.
Sure. So that led me to conclude that you were like myself.
Sure. And him jabbing his tendrils of chains into my mind had nothing to do with that.
I did not jab anything into your mind. I saw the chains that are already there.
You shook my hand and used that as an opportunity to cast on me.
Yes, and I witnessed things that are already there. I dislike the suggestion that I jabbed anything into you.
It's okay. We've already established you won't do it again without asking.
Indeed, I won't read what's there without asking.
Most people would appreciate it if you didn't look at their thoughts, even if they are surface thoughts.
I understand that. I'm not an idiot. I did ask for your permission after Isabel mentioned that she requires it. I also likely won't be requesting it of others who can't perceive these things, because that would be absurd.
We've been making some progress, but I feel like things are getting a little tense, so maybe we should just tone it down a little bit. We're finding out about our boundaries and getting to know each other a little. I don't know.
So what does this mean?
So I don't know what it means, but I think that Ms. Bauer is right. There's a reason that we're all here in this place together. Maybe that's not something for us to know yet, but there's a reason why we're here. I'd suggest we just keep our eyes open and our awareness up and see if that reason becomes apparent.
Sounds good to me. You know where to find me. And just boop. Adios.
Leave. Yeah.
Wow, that went better than I thought.
If any of you have any ideas of how you might be able to assist her, I would appreciate it.
Cloak's eyes light up. Yes, I do.
What can you tell me about curses?
I will tell you how I understand them through Vodou. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Do you believe in God?
Yes.
I believe in God. I also believe that God is far above us. And the only way that we can get closer and understand God is with the help of the Lua. The Lua connect us. They mediate the teachings and translate in a way. They also guide us in making sure that we can live our lives in harmony with what God wants for us. Sometimes that gets disrupted, and that can be perpetual. And to use the way that I think of it, we can be bound in foreign chains that don't lead us to where we need to be, but keep us from going where we are supposed to be. There is a way to figure out that which enchains you and how to break those chains. And it starts by looking inwards. The Maroons I care for, we are all devoted to looking inwards and understanding that which chains us and keeps us from achieving the lives we want. And that is why we wake in the morning And again, when the moon rises, we enter the mines, where we are not distracted by outside stimuli. We wouldn't say stimuli. We're not distracted by many things. It is silent, it is dark, it is cool. And it is, I've found, the best way to get in touch with that you're not able to see because of everything else that clouds your vision. If you wish to join us at your leisure at any time, you're welcome. And I'm sure you'll find the answers you seek.
Maybe. I don't know. I've been to the mines. It wasn't a revelatory experience.
Cloak says.
I think intention probably matters there.
It's a place of toil. It's where you work.
Work is life. Life is work. And the only way that hard things, well, this is the truth about hard things. Hard things never become easy. They just become familiar. We have lived our lives in toil. We come from a country of toil, which achieved independence, but then subjected almost everyone except for those in power into servitude once again. You're welcome to your perspective, but we have found that we are always able to achieve our limits when we don't run from that which is in front of us, but we embrace it and use it to compel us further.
I would imagine emerging after such a event might be something like a rebirth.
Cloak smiles. And he gets up because he realizes that it might be a good chance to give Theo and Gisela a chance to chat on their own. And so he stands up and says, Mademoiselle Bauer.
Mm-hmm. Monsieur Broussard?
Madame Stokes.
Monsieur Broussard?
Bonjour. And he walks out.
I feel like I'm coming out of Jane Austen novel. Everybody being so polite.
Say bonjour.
Well, yeah.
More tea?
It's early in the day. He wouldn't say bonsoir. It's a
That's
good day.
good afternoon.
I mean, you could say au revoir, but he doesn't mean like farewell.
Oh. I thought bonjour was just hello.
I think you can kind of say, just like in a sense, you can say good day, right? Like,
Dog. She's Layla. It's okay, Layla.
She's very mad at me. I'm not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Okay.
also, as a note, that's a great point, Drew. When Cloak is focused on being kind, he leans on those 3 dots of expression for sure.
I noticed a couple times that I appear to have spooked you. Inadvertently.
That was you.
Yeah, after you did something to one of the newcomers, that's when I did a reading, I guess you might say. My mother would have called them readings. And I could see some things written about you that you carry around, like, to my eyes anyway, they're like little signs or little indications. And that's told me that you were like me. But the moment I did that, you left in a big hurry. I went to speak to you, but your mother was very protective. I don't have the best reputation with the ladies around here, so I didn't force the issue. I asked Catherine if she could arrange for you to come to tea. Not through any nefarious intent, just it seemed like that might go easier than if I were to try and approach you again. And then when I did my display, you reacted strongly again. Is there something about me that bothers you, or
the shapes?
What about them exactly? Is it just normal afraid of ghosts, or?
My father and my grandfather see them, have seen them.
Really?
I don't think it's the same thing, but
Close enough that it spooked you.
that it looks the same, yes. And that is what I am trying to fix.
So it's a problem that they could see them?
Yes.
I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm trying to understand.
It's more that they see them as horrible little things that bring misfortune. And there has been a lot of misfortune. It's why we are here.
So you came here to try and escape it?
That was my father's thought.
And you were worried that it followed you here?
Yes.
Well, I will try hard not to cause that reaction again. It wasn't intentional, of course.
When you do it, I can see the magic in it.
Have you ever seen these things that your father and grandfather could see?
No, it comes later.
Oh. So there's a history. Well, far be it from me to pry.
I'm going to fix it.
No, I'd be willing to help you if I can.
I would welcome your help.
I know, I used to think I knew a thing or two about curses and avoiding them and things like that, but since my eyes were opened, I don't know how much of that was actually real.
They're definitely real. I don't know how much of what you experienced was.
Yeah, I mean, my knowledge. My mother used to do seances, and I could occasionally hear whispers back before all this happened. You and I should go to the boneyard one night. Or actually, maybe during the day would be better.
That was a transition.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just to see if the things I see are the same thing that you're describing or not. Just to confirm.
Hey, girl, let's go to the boneyard and see if you feel the same way.
Are you going to take Cloak up on his offer?
I don't want my mind pried into.
It didn't sound like that's what he would be doing.
It was more like
a spiritual journey.
I don't know how on board with it I am.
Well, if you do decide it's something you're interested in, let me know and I'll be happy to accompany you. I appreciate the social risk you took in coming out here.
It's not really that bad. I interact with most people in town on a certain level, so.
I know I just don't have the greatest reputation around town. Not many people would entertain an invitation to tea from me.
Two and a half of them did today.
It's fine. It doesn't bother me.
Well, good. It's nice to be able to talk to somebody without that suspicion and hostility. I think that's all Theo had. I just wanted to hang around and chit-chat for a bit. Out of character speaking.
Yeah, probably just like chat some, but because again, I have like I have a day off. I don't have to. Well, I do actually.
Inventory you got to do, but
I have to go to the shop and gather up the things for the Royal Society folks. So yeah, I should probably get going.
All right.
So, did you have... Okay. So, Isabel left first, headed to the tavern, I imagine. Cool.
Gotta work.
Right.
I remembered a thing.
You remembered a thing.
I meant to ask when everyone else was here. Did you feel the pulse?
Oh, right. The prime bit. We can do a little retcon back to when everybody was still here. So,
Cloak didn't.
It was very short. It wasn't like the other. It was
When did it happen?
It wasn't one of us. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it was in the evening, right?
mm-hmm. It was
Yes.
you would
It
have
also-
been at your home, they would have been performing.
It was one I haven't felt before.
Remember,
That was
for everybody else, you don't feel a difference.
Yeah.
That's a unique thing for her, that she feels the arcana tied to it. So,
That's right.
It was different.
What do you mean?
It was new.
Well,
I thought it was, I guess, one of you doing the other things. But if it wasn't,
I felt something, but I assumed it was one of you. But I didn't see any lingering effects from it.
I mean, do you say prime?
yeah,
high speech.
prime. Yeah.
I don't do that. I don't know what that is. I don't do that.
What kind of nerd would do prime magic?
Right?
I want to find it. It's dangerous. I know that because I pulled a card and asked.
Hmm. Well, I'm sure with our heads together, we can track it down.
Where was it?
Don't know.
Cool.
Everyone, where were you at such and such time that evening?
The mines.
Did not reach the mines then.
Yeah, and I felt it out front of the tavern, right?
You would have been in the tavern.
In the tavern.
Yeah.
I felt it in my house.
Okay. So somewhere
In town?
in town.
Or
Nearer the town than the mine.
We'll have to figure it out.
It's whatever it is dangerous. And so I want to find it.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer it.
Okay.
If you can find it, I will help you.
So yeah, Isabel's headed to the tavern, and then you said you had a thing before that? No, that was Ash saying she had a thing before
yeah,
that.
sorry.
Right.
We just did that thing.
Yeah, you were just asking people stuff.
Right. And Ralph, you were headed into town or heading up to the mine?
It's Saturday afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Say 3
No
o'clock.
work. Because this is after the bridge ceremony. Let's see. Yeah, he probably would be going into town. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Showing his face, talking to people.
Cool. Yeah, and you know, when you get up there, and Isabel as well, you know, everything is still, you know, fairly lively, and I'm going to use the term because it's funny and it's 1846, but also because it's this group. It's lively and gay.
Yeah.
And you know, people are, you know, relaxing, having a good time. The couple barrels of, you know, beer probably have been kind of set out in front of the tavern, because of course the tavern isn't open yet. That would be, you know, ridiculous. But you know, Madame Robert is right there and just talking about, oh, don't worry, the good stuff will be open when the sun sets. Don't drink too much, because I'm not getting paid for this. You know, but yeah, generally, you know, it's relaxed. You can see the clergymen, there we go, have set up like games for the children, you know, little like man, I am sure, oh my gosh, not horseshoes, and what was the other one I was thinking of? Cornhole? Yeah. You know, and some of those other,
I don't know if cornhole's been invented, but in our universe it has.
Yeah.
What?
Why not?
Google it.
That doesn't sound like a safe thing to Google.
It totally is. It's on ESPN.
Oh.
Patented in 1883.
Damn, over 40 years early.
But that just means patented.
Just like
Somebody
revolvers.
definitely was smart.
Came in the past.
Exactly.
But yeah, so you
Craig,
know,
also, if you Google cornhole game, it's probably more likely
Yes.
that you'll avoid the things you don't want to see.
Did you say Cornhub?
quickly moving right along.
Hilarious April Fools.
I'm pretty sure they did that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Did they? Oh, really?
I would.
Oh,
I would
that's
believe
hilarious. With a bunch of corn.
Okay, quickly moving on. This is a family show.
All right,
no,
fair
it's
enough.
not.
No, it's not.
I specifically mark our YouTube uploads for not for kids because I just don't want to deal with that crap. Yeah. So yeah, for the most part, everything is kind of, you know, relaxed, and you know, there's a good energy. People are making the most of a Saturday off. There's definitely out on the green. You've got a couple, you know, families that have got, you know, kind of set up a little space for themselves, and of course, naturally, there's a few dating couples, you know, out here in public where it can be, you know, all above board, but
Chaperoned,
you know, right? You know, but the blanket is out and they're sitting just close enough to each other. You know, it's very, I would say, stereotypical.
idyllic.
Say what?
Idyllic.
Yes, that's a good one. But yeah. And of course, at this point, the Royal Society has disappeared up the way up. Actually, at this point, you can probably see them, tiny little figures up on the ridge line. And occasionally, if anybody's looking up that way, the occasional glint of light off of at least 4 Gisela would know telescopes, as things are being set up and put together up there. Oh, yeah, that's right. But yeah, if there's any specific place you guys are headed, we can head there. If not, this is one of those classic, like, oh, okay, and then we can fast forward.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And getting ready for the night shift at the tavern.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, Theo was ordered to be in attendance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, so many of the farmers coming up, and all the miners are off work all at the same time. Saturday night is going to be busy and hectic.
It's going to be a good time.
Free beer is worth waking up for. I'm normally asleep.
Yeah, actually, I think that's probably true. At this time, you were starting to notice there's quite a few larger, quite a larger contingent, there we go, of the miners who have arrived, because at this point, yeah, they've missed all the boring stuff, and there's no... because you are talking about like total 30 miners, a lot of whom have families here, live here, so like Gisla's father, some of the farmers like sons. At this point, this place is, it's not a bunch of, okay, let's be honest. They're all kind of on the dirty side of things, but it's not a coal mine. So they're not soot stained or anything like that. Right. But there is always a little bit more tension when they're all out. And so you do occasionally catch some stuff where the shift leaders are, actually of note, let me make sure I get her name right, but it should be Marina. I don't even have Conca open. But yes, Marina. Which, by the way, hey guys, YouTube and Twitch. Actually Twitch, I guess I'll give you a link right now. But Conca is now open and public. And so you can come, check things out. But where Furnace and Tahoma are, larger gentlemen who can, intimidate and talk people down. Marina is only 5'2" and fairly slight. So she carries like a classic, and it's a club. She's got like a whooping stick just hanging from her belt.
Handle.
Oh, actually, yeah, probably, yeah. It's got some length to it, and give her.
She
that
would have
reach.
it around.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so that's how she deals with problems, which also means her shift usually doesn't cause problems. Because everybody takes care of their own guys, right?
Yeah. That's right.
And that said, Marina, compared to the other three, is far more maternal. The other guys are bosses. She's Big Mama Bear. But yeah, for the most part, like, people are super happy. Things are, there are starting to be the occasional arguments. All right, guys, separate places. But with so many families, kids running around, the whole little, I have a hoop that I can chase thing.
A hoop and a stick.
Hoop and a stick. Yep. I don't think we've invented stickball yet. But yeah.
Bring it all back.
Mm-hmm.
We invented basketball, rugby, everything. Why not?
well, yeah, not rugby, but yeah.
It's magic. Yeah.
There are definitely a few kids running around with sticks and hitting each other with them and pretending to be knights. Yeah, because
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The issue here is the ball problem.
Yeah.
But yes. Definitely stuff to kick around. And
back in the day, they kicked cans. So
right.
Cans have a benefit.
Yes, we still have that can issue. But yes, very, very idyllic setting.
It's a leather-wrapped sheep splatter.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Because, we had that in Aztec and Mayan times. So, yeah. Brenna, are we fast-forwarding to the evening or later, or is there anything?
There's something Cloak would like to do if it's okay with the rest of the players.
Yep.
Sure.
And that's take some time to work on that other short-term aspiration he has, which is build trust with the other miners. So, considering now people are not in the mines, he would like to take an opportunity to socialize with people. So you start, of course, by talking to Marina and Tahoma.
Sure.
And talking to them about the lanterns, which noted we haven't used them very much yet, considering not much time has passed since they've been installed.
Mm-hmm. At this point,
talk about still.
Yeah, at this point, they have not even been installed. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a discussion that comes up. But yeah, if that is your goal, feel free, throw this would definitely be a good presence plus socialize roll.
Cool.
And notably, the three of them, because we have not addressed him, though I've mentioned him a couple times. Furnace, yes.
There are 3 shift leaders in the other mine.
Mm-hmm, because
that's right. It's 2 mines. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to find Furnace. Edgar Furnace. Definitely one of the oldest of shift leaders, like early 40s, 6'4", tall guy, and Norwegian. So the accent is there, blonde, blue-eyed, and kind of larger guy. And so, but yeah, he and the other shift leaders kind of move in a group. And while they don't necessarily, the 3 of them are not friends, though Tahoma and Marina are kind of friendlier. At this point, their Saturday off is, yes, we will hold these mugs of beer and we will slowly drink them, but we are keeping an eye on our miners for most of the Saturday. But yeah, I imagine that you can definitely get in and have a little chat with them and kind of hang out. And yeah, with nope, don't have mine 4 yet.
Nope.
But yeah, even with the -1 on socialize, 3 successes. Yeah, it especially I imagine Cloak is not drinking because we know Cloak's opinion on that. But with them having some drinks and out well away from the context of the mines, things are a little bit more relaxed and can talk with them. And are you leaning on kind of the we're all miners kind of thing, or are you trying to steer towards like more personal interests and getting to know them as people?
He'd start first by reminding them that we're all employed the same way, that we might have different approaches, but we don't need to be threatened. We're different minds and we can rely on each other. It's a dangerous thing to do. And we can't think of each other as competitors because we're fighting against the rock falls that happen in the mines and the psychological dangers. That's the ever-present thing. That's the real challenge. The challenge is in each other. And then he would go into personal stuff to reinforce the connections.
Sure. Cool. Yeah, definitely a, progress at least to improving impression level, because for the longest time you've been rivals. This is the other mine, and they get compared to you, you get compared to them, and stuff like that.
Exactly. Cloak doesn't want that.
Right. We're all in the same. We all live together. Cool. Yeah, which actually I think takes us to that evening at the tavern, I suspect, because Gisela does inventory, and that's no big deal. Yeah. So that evening, we do see the return of the Royal Society. They come back down, looking a little bit, tired of being out in the sun. It is April and it is still nice weather, but it is also out in the sun. Of note, though, looking up towards that ridgeline, as the sun was coming down and stuff like that, there are a few not tents, but the structures and poles and stuff like that for some to be set up. Like they were basically clearing out some ground, leveling some stuff, and then setting up for what will eventually be, a viewing station. Because of course, viewing the stars right now would be kind of shitty because you have the full moon tonight. So they are just getting set up. But yes, you see them kind of return to, I would say, their old patterns, but they've only been here one day. So, but Rilla, finds, in this case, isn't even able to find a table so much as the far end of the bar, and has got documents set out and has a probably is actually drinking after the efforts today. Jules is actually, now that I think about it, I'm gonna take a step back. Does Madame Robert allow for dancing?
Ooh.
Because I would think yes on, the appropriate occasions.
Yeah, I think perhaps this evening the tables are more spread out.
Mm-hmm. And some of them like rolled out into the street and make some space and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Isabel might spend more time playing than waitressing. There are, as mentioned previously, various other instruments that have been brought in from the outside and a kind of rudimentary band put together. Get the band back together. And so various dances, and the tavern is lively. Rilla does no, I was going to say doesn't seem interested in dancing. She hasn't taken a dance partner yet, and has kind of blown off most interest, but also hasn't left the bar. Jules, however, has a full dance card and is, well, actually, guys don't have dance cards. Women have dance cards, but is dancing frequently and constantly and taking a break and, oh, wait, hang on. And yeah.
I mean, he's probably getting pulled out a lot because he's the new interesting
and
one. Yeah, the new handsome one.
Yep. So he is having plenty of dances and having a grand old time. Mortimer Bethune has finally managed to get hold of Anastasio, but actually, who all would be here? Because obviously Isabel and Theo are there.
I would be there also, just because finished up inventory and now we're going to the party.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Cloak.
It's a fun evening. Yeah, he's trying to ingratiate himself with the populace.
Gotcha. It is not Jules Verne. Jules' last name is
not Verne.
Definitely not Verne. Lamb. Jules Lamb.
Should have looked that up in Conca yourself, chat.
But
link is right up there.
It is right up there. Wow, hang on. On somewhere. Anastasio. I remember. Do you think many of the Maroons are also here, or because if the group in general has a thing against alcohol, or is it a Cloak thing?
He thinks that some of them are struggling with it. He's not going to punish them. They're not children, right? Mm-hmm. So he knows that alcoholism is one of the chains or one of the limitations that many of them have been struggling with. So, how it goes through, the way he sees it is, look, people at the bottom of the cult have a lot of stuff and they haven't really gone through enough soul searching to deal with their own challenges. And they haven't found, from his perspective, the most productive ways to overcome your trauma. Mm-hmm. So definitely people drink. And if it allows them to work and they're still able to accomplish things and grow, then he's not going to stop them.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
So definitely some of them probably drinking.
Cool. And in attendance was the other thing too. So
cool, definitely. Yeah. He's like, you need to be there, right? This is the town party, so people need to see our faces.
Cool. So which also makes this the first time that there's been a party for them to attend. So so definitely some interesting stuff. But yes, as I was saying, Anastasio and Mortimer are they finally got together and they're sitting there and they are both just chatting a little bit on the loudly side. It is not business related. It is just these back and forth, just wild concepts and basically Anastasio is suggesting business ventures, and Mortimer Bethune is shooting them all down about how they're impractical and unreasonable. And what do you mean a train all the way across the nation? That's ridiculous.
Waste of money.
Waste of money. Who would get involved in that? You know how vulnerable to theft it would be. Blah 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 blah.
How would you even build it?
Right. Yeah. So a lot of just like they if there was productive conversation at the start, it was short lived. But generally speaking, yeah, everybody is in high spirits. That was the term I was looking for earlier. And having a good old time.
Great. All right, time to be blunt.
Yeah, I was just saying, and you all can use this time for investigation, or hey, we are all real people working jobs or having Saturday off. That's a-okay too.
I expect since Isabella is busy playing, that Theo's doing a lot of running around trying to serve.
Potentially, yeah. And there's, I think perhaps rather than table service, almost everything is at the bar. Especially with so many dancers in that middle space.
I think Cloak is going to ask Rilla to dance.
All right, so we will pick up there. Pull up. Oh yeah,
especially after your little moonlight chat the other night.
Yeah.
So we will pull up Rilla here.
She wants a whirlwind romance.
What'd you say?
Whirlwind Western romance.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, set the stage here. Well, I'll set the stage. You let me know how Cloak comes in. But yeah, she's got basically the same set of small journals set out, a larger, more hardbound book that she is transcribing things into, cross-referencing a couple things, flipping back and forth, and then occasionally taking a sip from, a glass or mug or whatever would be appropriate.
Okay. So Cloak approaches her from the side, right? And tries to approach her in a way that allows her to see him as he approaches.
Sure.
Instead of the weirdo coming from behind and tapping somebody on the elbow, right? So I don't know where the bar is oriented relative to the door, the rest of the room, but he's trying to come in at an oblique angle so that she sees him approach. Mm-hmm. He, greets her and says, "Good evening, madame."
Good evening, Monsieur Jean-Paul, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's totally fine.
And again,
I appreciate it.
Continuing in French, if I remember correctly, we talked about her wanting to practice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he says, your French is improving.
In one day.
It seems. Sometimes things get better more quickly than we expect.
Perhaps.
I appreciated our conversation yesterday.
It was interesting.
I think people can surprise you in many ways.
I'm often being surprised by the people out here on the frontier.
Would it surprise you to learn that I can dance?
This is definitely going to be... I'm trying to think of...
He's going to ask directly.
Right.
But he's making banter with her first. So.
No, I'm on board.
Cool.
This is more to... Because at this point, she's because she's been approached by multiple people of whether or not she's just going to be thanks, I'm not, not interested, or...
this seems like a good time for a presence.
Yeah, presence plus probably persuasion.
Or socialize, or...
What was that, Chris?
Socialize, or...
Socialize might work too, yeah. But I know that's a -1 then. Whichever you prefer.
Okay. I would do... Wait, we said presence plus... What were the two options? Socialize and...
I was thinking persuasion, just to keep her in the conversation. That's worth her time.
Persuasion. Mm-hmm.
No particular negatives.
Great, thank you. Let's roll that up. That wheel. Always want to be rolling well. Wow.
Cool. 2 successes. Yeah. And so she kind of looks at you, and there's the small little smirk, and sets the pen down and closes the book and kind of turns, hands on her lap and says, I could believe that you could dance, but, and kind of gestures at first Isabel playing and then the, people dancing. And she says, these dances, you're familiar with these dances?
I'm a quick learner, and I would like you to teach me some of these.
Ooh, okay. So that is definitely going to be a presence plus persuasion roll as well. What was going to have a couple negatives on it, no, you're tapping on not necessarily her vice and virtue or aspirations,
her knowledge.
But yeah, to teach, yes, that's her jam, and she doesn't get to do it. So yeah, just flat presence plus persuasion, please.
Cool, sweet. I mean, she wants to prove herself, so let's do it.
Yeah, I guess it's true. It kind of leans into a little bit of the aspiration.
Mm-hmm. I mean, specifically to Mr. Bethune, but this isn't directly related to that. Just in his mind, she's trying to prove herself. So, and considering her virtue is generous, he thought she might be generous with her time in this moment.
That's a fair.
So he thought, all right, cool. Let's do it. We're gonna take a chance. No, we gotta get her. So it's gonna be another will.
How many of those do you have left?
Oh, geez, I got 3 willpower left.
Oh no,
that's a failure.
Woo, and a lot of ones in there. So, question:
Jeez, that's
dramatic
terrible.
failure, or
no?
Okay,
I'm
which
gonna
is fine.
see. How would I try and do this again?
And this is the one thing I will let you know, is that you have definitely kind of I guess, yeah, we can probably say there's an improvement in impression level. The humility side of, you'll have to teach me these dances, is kind of the other side of Cloak that she hadn't seen, and compared to a lot of these minors and kind of the traditional male role. She's like, okay, well, no, while I would like to teach you, I do have, and kind of touches the paperwork, but nods to the stool next to her. She says, but you can keep me company.
That seems like a suitable alternative. Perhaps I can help you with your task, and then you can reciprocate if you feel comfortable later.
Well, I don't know how much you'll be able to help me with the task, but,
I leave that up to you to determine.
Fair. But pleasant company and a man sitting beside me will probably improve my productivity.
Works for me.
We've all been there.
But yeah, so she, turns back to her work.
Cool.
She's not trying to hide it from you. But what languages does Jean-Paul read and write?
He reads and writes French. He speaks English and Spanish.
Okay. So yeah, looking over, definitely do not recognize the language that she is writing in. The one thing I will give you, there are, because speaking and reading and writing French, you are familiar with the Arabic alphabet. And no, this is, not Arabic alphabet, Latin alphabet.
Arabic numbers.
Right. Thank you. I was like, hang on, that doesn't seem quite right. There are, you can recognize, the Latin letters, but there are definitely some symbols that are included in here that are unusual. They're written in text, in I almost said dialogue, but in sentence structures. It's not suddenly a big big occult diagram or something like that. But yeah, occasionally these extra little add-ins that must mean something, but what they actually mean is not immediately evident. Besides the fact that you do not speak this language. But
Gotcha.
How nosy is Cloak being physically? Is it a quiet companionship? We're just going to sit here at the bar, and if she needs help, she'll say something, or are you kind of leaning in, looking, and seeing what she's doing?
Well, we can't read it, so he'll ask questions here and there to make it clear that he is curious, and he is trying to politely improve her impression of him.
Sure. For a bit. Well, actually, yeah. What questions are you asking? Let's go that way.
He'll follow up on some of the questions he asked before, right, about her goals and things like that. He says, I felt a little discouraged when you said that, or when you were less, what's the right word? When you expressed a less pronounced confidence in your own value here. Do you know anything about Vodou?
No, I don't. Tell me about it. Though I will go ahead and mention she is engaging in the conversation, but it's pretty clear she's not actively paying attention to.
Yeah, she's busy. It's cool. He's just trying to make a small point here. So thank you for allowing me to do this. So what he does is, she says, please tell me. He says, Haiti, like many colonized places, has the legacy of gender bias. Vodou does not. Have you seen the Maroons with me? Have you met or seen Sanité and Messier?
Oh, she was there when you introduced them.
Oh, that's right. So you say, you saw Sanité, you met Sanité and Messier.
I did.
They are not ornaments.
Yeah, I think she says, no, they didn't appear that way, and you didn't treat them that way.
And I would not. And there would be bad things for me if I did. My point is, I come from a different tradition than I see reflected in the way that women and men relate to each other here. There is a fixed concept of the role of gender where we are. There is not where I'm from. At least not in that we aspire to. And I think that everyone has a role. And Cloak's gonna, lean on his change limitations. He says that our concepts of what people are meant to do is a limitation on their abilities. Especially when it is wedded to who we believe them to be, based on their appearance, or based on some aspect of their body.
Yeah, I think she actually, hang on, let me pull up. She's not necessarily pessimistic, but
well, that's her vice.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was wondering. It's like, is she? Yeah. So yeah, she's definitely leaning into her vice a little bit here, and yeah, it's like, well, that must be quite nice to live in a place like that. Unfortunately, the Royal Society is not so free thinking.
Well, if you had a patron who was more free thinking, I'm sure that he could aid you in getting into the Royal Society.
Yeah, she's like, that's not exactly how that would work, but I mean, it's a nice thought.
Fair enough. I'm only here to share thoughts, and as you said, share your company.
She nods, and there's a expression of food for thought, but definitely starts to get a little more head down into the transcribing work.
That works for me.
I am going to make a scene.
Cool.
That scene is I'm going to grab Jules
Oh yeah.
and use him as a sort of prop for my next song and story.
The whole sit him in a chair and dance around him.
Yes and no. I, Chris, am inventing a sort of call and response folk song / drinking song.
Sure.
Cool.
To liven everyone up. And it's sort of a based on an auction of dowries for someone. That's like real fast paced and everything like that. And because I'm just trying to embarrass him a little bit about how much attention he's had in front of everyone tonight.
Sure.
And
can auction off the dance with them.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that's what is the end goal here besides making the scene?
I think it's to like just like jackhammer everybody's like mood like to the sky, like really
so
just like, oh, this is great, because like, you know, all the guys are going to be like, oh, I wish I could get them, you know,
right,
and then everything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna tap on my socialized carouse specialty here.
That's a good.
And, you know, if Jules wants to pay more attention to me after this, because everyone else just gave him a dance, I gave him a song.
Right.
I likes it.
I can remember how to use this sheet.
It's been a whole week. Awesome.
4 successes.
4 successes.
Ooh,
So close to that
yeah.
exceptional. Yeah. So definitely, you know, across the crowd, like there's more attention to what's going on. People get, you know, especially, you know, like for the Maroons, and you know, some of the other folks that haven't heard this song, but you know, and
they catch the drift pretty quick,
right?
And you've got like grandma shouting out how much they'll bid on him and stuff. Like that's a good vibe, right?
Right. And as the song kind of ends, and you know, the flute comes down, so tempted to roll a grapple check, but yeah, Jules, you know, like and because I imagine, you know, the playing the flute, and then the flute comes down, and he just kind of sweeps in, grabs your free hand, you know, and just like swings into a dance.
In Thirsty Sword lesbians terminology, I am now swooning. Or shit, what is the term?
Why did you mention the snails?
Yeah.
What?
It's one of the move sets.
Oh, gotcha.
For the spooky witch.
Gotcha.
When you become enamored with someone, you have to blurt out something awkward and whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, in this particular case, he you know, draws you into a dance. There's some more clapping, and you know, from a lot of perspectives, oh, okay, this is him getting his, you know, just
back.
rewards. He was a good, he
was a good sport,
but you know, kind of, you know, quietly that you know, intimacy of a dance, right? And mentions, you know, you are the only one who didn't ask me for a dance, so now you're just going to get one.
It's a shame because I can't play one-handed.
Nope. That's fine. You know, and you know, because of course the rest of the group are, you know, they're other musicians.
Other people fill in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you know, I imagine Theo may even play, like wing woman and like retrieve the flute mid dance, or somebody else. It's like, okay, that's fine. Isabel can have a moment to dance before she goes back. But yeah, no other thing. And now, of course, if you engage him in conversation, feel free. But yeah, it's just like, nope, we're gonna dance now, kind of thing of him paying you back, and after all, you've been super flirty. It's like, fine. I'll take. And at this point, he's definitely had a couple drinks, and the liquid courage is high. Yeah.
Good. Fall into that trap.
Sure. And Theo behind the bar. For the most part, and we mentioned it before. At the tavern, it's super easy. I think. And feel free, that way I'm not playing your character for you. This is one of the few places where you can kind of let go. There's less judgment here. For the most part, it's, Theo gets to be the pretty waitress, and people think of her less, especially like the women and stuff like that. The women who come here, come here with their men or, what have you, is a little less, concern over her, being the exotic beauty, right? But
usually that followed is more like the morning after when the husbands come home and they're talking about this pretty waitress. And,
right.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that's kind of flowing and moving, and you have a chance to be kind of come out of your shell, so to speak. And I don't imagine that Theo is necessarily flirty, but she's friendly.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. But able to be super friendly, and there's definitely some tips, and or drinks bought for her, stuff like that. If there's anything you're looking to do, or Gisela, specifically, let me know.
Just still sowing a little bit of discord about the bridge and little comments and things like that. If there's a conversation that's kind of leaning that way, I'll sort of fan that flame a little bit.
Sure. And this is a great place to do it because everybody's getting a little tipsy. Go ahead and roll manipulation plus subterfuge.
Wait. She doesn't like the bridge?
She doesn't like Enright.
Oh, cool.
Enright's like the equivalent of a Dawn, right?
Gotcha.
It's not Enright himself; it's the position he holds. I would imagine. Right. Yep.
And the privilege with which he knows he holds it, right? Like 4 successes.
Heck yeah. So definitely kind of dropping.
Oh, where did expression come from?
That's Songbird's roll.
Yeah. Oh,
you were looking at.
Did I not roll it? I clicked roll.
Do you have the pop up for additional modifiers?
Oh, yes, there it is. Thank you. Brain work. No successes.
No.
Oh, dang.
Oh, that would have been really impressive.
That's
4 successes.
Yeah.
4 successes on 3 dice. Cool. Taking that as a dramatic failure or just a regular one?
I already have a condition from a dramatic failure, but yeah, I'll take another one.
Okay. Well, it doesn't necessarily get you a condition so much as you get a beat and stuff happens. Yeah. So that's fine. So you are.
If I make a suggestion.
Oh, feel free.
So what if the crowd becomes obviously aware, like there's a growing awareness how
no, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. No, you're talking and leaning over to people and you don't quite notice when you're whispering to, just making a subtle little comment and then realize that one seat over is Ike Enright.
Okay.
Oh, that little shit.
No. It's worse than that. And yeah, watch, Ike, who I imagine is doing the very, and actually, let me go pull up his description, is doing the very alpha male, lean back against the bar, watching people dance, kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we have gone over his description, but yeah, 34-year-old, blue eyes, brown hair, kind of swept off to the side, pale, definitely does not get out much in the sun the way like even his dad, does. But he's 5'8" and, kind of on the leaner side. So he's not like impressively large or anything like that. But has a he has a mean face. It's a step beyond, resting dick face.
The rich asshole face.
Yeah. And yeah, as soon as like he hears some words, he's not able to pick it all up because, there's music playing, there's, feet on the wood floor, stuff like that, or maybe stone floor. But yeah, kind of turns his head and just kind of locks eyes, looks you up and down. It just kind of nods and has a like, oh, it's like that. And then just turns back to watching the crowd.
Shit, what's his
Oh,
name?
man.
Ike will remember this pops up in your head.
Yeah.
Yes.
So wandering
Isabel-
back over to the bar with a tray of empty, like, great job, Theo.
He gets
Isabel
the minus,
definitely thought
minus.
about- Go ahead.
No, I was like, he gets the minus over his head from the sins.
Mhm.
Isabel definitely thought about trying to take advantage of his wealth and put up with that, and then quickly found that was not going to be worth it.
And he's courted women in town, especially as he was getting older, but it quickly became evident that none of the women
Not
in
worth
town
it.
are up to his level, whatever that might mean.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure
see
he
how
made
that-
the decision.
I can see how that relationship would have ended up. Honest, Sheriff. He fell down in his mine shaft and landed on some bullets.
He fell on my knife 10 times.
Yep.
Oh, man.
But cool. And is Gisela up to anything specific?
I also wanted to talk to Rilla.
Okay.
Because I have realized that talking to Jules isn't getting me anywhere.
Mm.
And since I can see her sitting there doing bookwork,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, you are the brains assistant.
Potentially, yeah. Cool. But yeah, you can see Cloak is over there, and I imagine Cloak probably just chilling there for quite a while, or does
Yeah, until it's awkward. I think it seemed Chloe got the impression that Rilla was inviting his company for two reasons. One, because she genuinely wanted to kind of chat with him and enjoy his company. And two, because she knows that he'll be respectful, or she expects he'll be respectful. And therefore, he'll prevent any suitors or other potential dance partners from distracting her.
correct?
So she gets the isolation she wants and some pleasant company.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Gisela might not know this, but if Cloak were to approach, if Gisela were to approach, Cloak would step away and give her time.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will walk over after a bit. I mean, because at this point I'm like, well, I'm friendly with you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. You guys
So-
are definitely within the level of like coming over and like
And chatting.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You gave her pastries a +2 friendship.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know about all y'all, but as soon as somebody gives me food, they are considerably more like
It's a
buddy
different
buddy.
situation. Yeah, that's right.
Donuts make me go nuts.
So
Donuts.
as Gisela approaches, Cloak stands up politely, because that's what you do. And he says, Mademoiselle Bauer.
Hello. What's your name? Monsieur Broussard.
Are you here to talk in emotions?
Yes, and then I'm going to start turn to her because I'm going to talk about her while she's right here.
Yeah, and I think the timing is good. Kind of Rilla is like hearing the conversation, and then Cloak stands, and there's conversation. And it's bright, cheery, and especially since Cloak is John Paul is standing up. She motions to the chair and says, "Oh,
Please, someone
Gisela,
fill the
please
seat."
sit." Yeah, I don't know. Oh man. Monsieur Broussard, I was going to get there. Actually, probably still calls you Jean Paul.
It's okay with me. Mm-hmm.
If you'll allow us to talk a little bit. Thank you very much for your company.
Bien sûr. Till next time.
Until. and motions, and kind of leans over to Gisela, and it's it's just us girls kind of vibe, and just says, I think very bluntly, it's like, do they all want to dance all the time, or is it because I'm new?
Both.
Yeah, a bunch of minors sitting up there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
An available young woman.
Yeah, am I available? Because they don't think I'm gonna stay around.
I don't think they care that much.
That's fair. No, but what brings you over? You're welcome, to company, but I am working. I don't know if air quotes have been invented yet, but we're using them here.
Yeah. Well, I was interested in your work.
Oh, and what languages do you read and write?
I have German and English for the ones I can read and write in.
Mm-hmm.
I can probably read enough Spanish.
Gotcha.
And I can listen to French.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, similar to, Jean-Paul looking over. No, you definitely don't read this either.
I would ask about it. It's like, I've never seen this. What language is it?
Well, this. And go ahead and give me some kind of roll here. Actually, I'm A-okay letting you lean in on your academics.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't have any points in academics.
Oh, you don't? Okay, I thought you did. Sorry. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm curious because I know you were leaning on the we're of like minds, and we're both super nerds.
Yeah, she's got no academic. She's got a lot of curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, I think this is probably good. How do we want to do this? I guess we can do this as investigation. Well, let's start with presence plus persuasion. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Presence and persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3. Can you use willpower on mundane rolls?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, what are those poor mortals doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Destiny gives me a bonus on mundane rolls.
Mm-hmm. You can definitely do that.
Gain the rote quality on a single mundane roll.
Yep. Let me pull
it's real nice.
Real quick. Whoops.
You have to spend willpower if you're doing it for a spellcasting roll.
Mm-hmm.
What is?
The rote quality is you roll and take a reroll your
the failures,
your fails.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I will try this.
Okay.
Still 0. God.
Oof.
Wow. Yeah.
6 dice.
7, 6, 2. Yeah. Wow.
Ouch.
Bad.
All right. I'm trying to remember. How many dots of destiny do you have?
2.
Okay. But yeah, she looks and she's like, well, how? Because you ask her what it is, as in the language or the work.
What's the language? Because I've never seen it before.
Gotcha. Yeah, she says, well, it's yeah, I think she basically says, well, no, this is a Royal Society business. I would be, I would get in trouble for disclosing Mr. Bethune's notes.
Thank you. So in my head, I'm just going to interpret that as, oh, you've got like secret society language.
It's not a bad interpretation. Especially because similar to, Cloak, you can look over, it's like, okay, those are normal letters. Those are not.
Aren't.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff in there.
What are you hoping to find with the stars? Are you looking for constellations? Particular stars?
Yeah, she smiles and I'm not exactly privy to what we're looking for. That is between Mr. Bethune, the Royal Society, and I guess Jules. He knows a little bit more than I do, but not much. I
got that impression.
Yeah. And there's definitely a shared giggle, so to speak. But no, I basically just transcribed notes for Mr. Bethune. So there's some things I've picked up, but I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of our visit here is, other than to use the telescopes to see something above.
Yeah, I'm just highly intrigued by what's so interesting here. Just of all the places.
Of all the places that we could visit, no, it couldn't be New York. No.
Yes, you have to come to Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think still it's the frontier. But yeah, and out here, middle of nowhere, not a stable fort, or anything like that. No, a top of a silver mine. Yeah, I'm curious too, and hopefully, if we actually learn something, maybe we'll be able to tell everybody here and celebrate it with you all. That's my hope. I'm not a fan of Mr. Bethune's need for secrecy. I don't much care for it. Could you do me a favor?
Mm-hmm.
And roll. Let me pull up the other book. Make sure I'm doing the right kind of roll. Mostly because this is one of those things that hasn't come up very often. But detecting lies.
Mm-hmm. Wit, sympathy, or subterfuge.
Yeah, either of those. At a minus... Well, actually, I think... Yeah, at a -2. So up until now, she hasn't directly lied.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing it at a -2. If I use a willpower, it's +1.
Okay.
I can use willpower, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Now... To remind, you can use your destiny to actually re-roll.
Can you do that? I thought you do it before you
that was the thing I was actually checking. You can get the rote quality on a single mundane roll chosen before you roll, or re-roll a single mundane action after you see the result, though you must take the second result.
I will do that.
Okay.
Do I have to... I don't spend the willpower again, do I?
No, because it's just a redo of the roll. So yeah, it's just another
you're
6.
interacting with the dice.
What was that, Chris?
I said you're just interacting with the dice.
Mm-hmm.
3 success.
3 successes. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things, and she's she leans in. I don't like his secrecy. There's a little bit too much to her smile. And the lean in and stuff like that. And no, she's really on board with the secrecy. And there's a moment where you see some of Mr. Bethune's attitude in her of she's actually kind of glad to hold this over, in what perhaps is in her mind, the silly peasant girl, right? Or the uneducated girl.
The Hicks.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to grab Cloak's attention and sort of just like, hey, outside for a second.
All right. Cloak will nod. Cloak has a question.
And take a little drink break outside.
Sounds good.
And I'll admit, I'm having too much of a good time tonight to continue to be unpleasant in your direction.
Thank you.
I thought about what you talked about last night with the alcohol. I could offer you a bit of a more lively experience for your senses without the sort of drawbacks that come with intoxicants. If you weren't to let loose and enjoy yourself a little bit better. And seeing as how we're talking about consent before we do things to each other now.
Yes.
Thought I'd ask.
Are you offering me a chance to transcend a personal boundary in hopes of understanding myself more? He smiles.
Yes.
Sure, man. Sure. I just thought you might
that.
like to see colors a little harder or something like that.
Yes, thank you. I'm grateful for the offer.
Roll it.
Yeah. 1 dice of paradox.
Oh. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no, roll it.
Oh.
Roll your wisdom.
Oh yeah. That's a real one. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
What an
8 of them.
First
1 success.
That little bloody nose there.
Oh yeah.
This is the first time that's happened to you.
It's a little bashing.
Little bit of a toothache.
Yeah.
Soreness.
That's weird.
What happened?
And spell. I am calling upon the moon
Ooh.
to light your way because that is a Theodosia yantra.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, signs of sorcery. Doing a
Yeah,
bunch of
great.
cool things.
Mm-hmm.
And then my flute as well.
Mhm.
As a rod.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah. I imagine you're casting. What is that life one spell? Party time spell.
Heightened senses.
Heightened senses.
Heightened senses.
Well,
Yeah.
1, 2, 4, 7.
2 successes.
Sweet.
Damn.
And for those at home who may be new to Mage, while this spell cannot grant a mage new senses, it can heighten existing ones, including touch. Particularly popular spell among hedonistic mages as a result, as well as those who want to revitalize senses dulled by city life. Blah, 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 blah. And it's a bonus to perception rolls equal to potency, which is...
Yeah, plus 1 potency to perception, but... Anyways. So yeah. Do you have your mage sight on when I'm doing this?
Yeah, I think at this point. Yeah, he wants to explore and understand everything. So
you're
especially being told that you're about to cast a spell.
Yeah.
So you've got way too much composure to be fucked with my nimbus here, but you would see it. And it is literally I'm not playing the flute to cast, but there are notes that make up my spell and sort of copper lines of what's it called? Staffs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the music.
Sort of like wrapping around me in a dance and a twirl. All of a sudden the moon's a little bit brighter and you feel the breeze actually crossing your skin and I don't know if you're a stinky boy, but if you are, everything's a little stinkier. But you feel the weight and the makeup of your clothes against your skin more and stuff like that.
Cool. He spends a little time delighting in what he witnesses from her nimbus. And then starts looking up at the moon. And then before he gets transfixed, he turns back and says, "Thank you very much.
I'll see you around."
I hope to.
And Bebop's back into the...
Yep. I gotta get back to work.
You know what Cloak's going to do? He's going to go try and perceive animals more.
Dope.
Cool.
Are there any dogs in the town? Any stray dogs? Or
I
any
imagine
cat
there are
dogs?
I imagine, yeah.
Probably.
both stray
Yeah.
and
Probably half those
domesticated.
horses hitched out front of the tavern.
Yeah, but there's horses. So that's something I wanted to narrate earlier. I didn't get a chance in character, like in the game. That the Cloak has been trying to form ties with the dogs in the town.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, you can have a great party. Cool, I'm going to go pet some dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
which
all
I
of
imagine.
us.
So, because we get Isabel walking back in, she's going to play, turns back to the door. He's not.
Not coming in.
He's leaving. What?
Son of a bitch.
He's going to come back in about 20 minutes. But yeah, he's going to go down, and like feel their fur more and like, pet them more and just, sit with them a little bit and look up at the moon, cradling the dogs that are neglected on the streets.
Well, and I don't know how much neglected we get here in the fact that, it's a frontier town. There are dogs, because think about like the dogs are either welcome and, stuff is tossed to them or, they leave. It's not quite like in a modern setting where, there's not wild stuff to hunt. Literally the dogs would be like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to go hunt rabbits out in the grass, so, but yeah, I do think there's definitely that difference between the pets and some of the stray, more raggedy ones. But yeah, I was just, sorry, it was knee-jerk reaction to neglected. Because, I'm with you. Yeah, the strays and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that animals are being abused here, and that's an element of the setting that we want to emphasize. Just in Cloak's mind, if an animal isn't cared for and it's left to fend for itself, it's being socially neglected. So in the sense that the Maroons had to fend for themselves. Well, no, not the Theosis idea. Just, look, if there's food around, it's one thing, right? And even in frontier towns, dogs aren't well adapted to the environment.
Right.
Wolves, coyotes and stuff, even feral dogs were challenged. And so that's how Cloak thinks about it. It's not that these dogs aren't capable of taking care of themselves if there are resources. He's worried that there might not be sufficient resources for them to do so.
Yeah, sure.
So
I feel
if
like
that's not the case, that's cool.
No,
I feel like any dogs that are around would be pets because otherwise they would probably be killed.
Potentially.
Like a stray dog that is a risk to like your livestock or whatever.
Oh, God. That's a good point.
That's true.
Like any dogs were brought in as pets and then their puppies were pets.
Okay.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But pet the pets then.
Heck yeah.
Pet some dogs.
Yep. And then he goes back.
And Ash, what are you rolling?
Something not very nice. I've detected that she's lying to me.
Yes.
Ooh.
Man.
It's only 2 dice, so this might not work. But reading the Outmost Eddies, just a very light bad luck. Just a very slight fuck you.
Is it a 1 dot?
Yeah. Small blessing or curse that attracts good or bad fortune. As long as the spell remains active, the subject experiences an event within the next 24 hours.
So just finding $20 or dropping their wallet in a puddle.
Yeah, just some a little misfortune.
Sure. All right.
As a treat.
As a treat.
That's a treat.
So you've got potency 2 baseline. You're adding 2 more for a total of 4. against her composure. All right. Where's
Yeah, and my
Tonka?
reaches are for instant duration. Well, if I go duration, it's only going to last a scene, right?
Mhm.
You could take the reach.
To make it
Make
happen,
it happen within an hour.
That would be
Mhm.
4 reaches.
Oh.
You've got 2. You're only dealing with 2 paradox.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll just take reach 4 then.
And would you even know to be that cautious? I mean, I guess
Probably
we would
not.
know that casting spells is more difficult than it used to be.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
I don't think any of us have suffered a paradox at this point.
No.
You would have seen the effects of it because that's what the Pneuma guards you against, and so you probably feel it. But the Pneuma provides.
Well, you might have to feel that you're like stretching yourself,
Mhm.
but I don't know that anyone's had a big paradox occur.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, and for my yantra, I'm just going to basically pull out a coin to pay for my drinks. So I'm just sort of flipping it.
Sure.
This is only 2 dice. It might not work.
Well,
But
hang on. Let's do. Well, are you spending mana to deal with the paradox, or are you just going to let it ride?
It's 3 dice.
it's -4.
Yantra and other bonuses is 4, so you've got Gnosis and Arcana, which is 3. Yeah.
It's a 6 -4.
Oh,
Because it's
No.
withstood by composure.
right.
Okay.
Oh, my brain's bad. It's 7, right?
Yeah.
You're okay. So hang on. The paradox, though, are you spending mana or just going to let it ride?
I'll spend 1.
Okay.
So roll 1 paradox die.
Mm-hmm. Nothing happens.
Okay. And roll this dice pool.
Mm-hmm.
No successes. I'm really bad at dice tonight.
Oof.
Well, you used them all in your first roll.
Apparently.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
6 successes,
spread
on 6
them out.
dice.
Let's see here. And those. Oh, sure. Okay. I gotta get back to roll 20. There we go. So yeah, no successes. So yeah, you pay the coin, think really bad thoughts at her, and
Doesn't work.
nope.
If you do it again, it's at a -1, right?
It is at a -1. And I will just remind everybody that's a bit of a house rule. Technically, it could be the same dice. We'll check with your SD. But yeah. If you totally want to try it again, you are welcome to.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to be spiteful. Be annoyed that it didn't work.
Okay, now a note, because you have provoked
With 3
paradox.
dice.
Paradox is now going to increase, so that you will be up against 3 paradox total.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah,
You're not
Do
going to
it.
be mages forever.
Cool. All right.
I still spin. I spin 2. Because I'm not using my mana for anything else.
Sure. 4
So just
now. Okay. Nothing. And roll the 2 dice. Nope.
I am annoyed.
Yeah, I offer you a dramatic failure in this trying times.
Repeat it into a chance die.
Well, we would have the 1 die and the 4 paradox.
And then keep going.
Yep.
If you're an Acanthus, it's all about pushing your luck.
Or controlling your luck, depending on your acanthus. But yes, are you good with the 2 attempts, or
Yeah, it didn't work. I'm
you're going to take it as a sign that okay, maybe you shouldn't?
maybe it's not supposed to.
Gotcha. Yeah. Coming back to that lie about secrecy. But she does explain that these are specifically points at some of the journals, like, oh, these are Mr. Bethune's notes. These are some of Jules. You can definitely see, oh yeah, no, Jules does have terrible handwriting.
His handwriting's real bad.
And then versus her very clean and neat, careful stuff. And to the guys' credit, they're making these notes out on the field with charcoal, and she's actually got a pen and is sitting. But yeah,
So you organize everything, compile it.
keep it, make corrections where necessary, and yeah.
I imagine yours are what get presented to the society.
She kind of pats the book very lovingly and says, yes, this would be the complete record of Mr. Bethune's experiment. But it is, his work, obviously.
Do they not let you contribute?
Well, I mean, I will probably be listed as an assistant as Jules, but, this is, Mr. Bethune's work, and we are tag-alongs, assistants. I think technically Jules will be listed as his apprentice.
Is he
Not fair.
contributing?
Oh, yes. I mean, in all fairness, the three of us, contribute. Jules and I, move and direct move and angle and record, and but Mr. Bethune is in charge, and it is his work. It's his life's
The one
work.
who figures out what the numbers mean.
Indeed.
Okay. So Jules kind of said I could come look. I don't know if he's allowed to make that call.
Yeah, she laughs and kind of rolls her eyes. She's just like, "Oh, that'll be fine."
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how many people will be up there, but I know Mr. Enright and Ike are being invited up. I wouldn't be surprised if your boss Anastasio is invited. There will be others who are invited up, and they, but to be honest, it probably will be a bit on the boring side, at least for the first couple initial nights, because we'll just be, I think she actually kind of clams up a little bit before she actually explains. But, before, the first measurements and stuff will be boring. It'll be over the course of a few weeks, whether anything interesting is noted.
Well, I'm sure it'll be interesting enough. I've never seen through a telescope.
She kind of grins and she says, "That I think I can arrange." Just before or after Mr. Bethune is done with it.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. And again, thank you for the pastries. They were absolutely lovely.
Great. I will leave you to your work.
Thank you. I mean,
Thanks.
and like there's a small panic. She's like, "You don't have to leave. You can stay sitting there."
No, I'm going to go.
Okay, well, have a good evening.
I guess I will go socialize.
Sure.
As much as I can.
Yeah, because at this point, like I'm sure you have friends in town, some of the other ladies, some of the guys, stuff like that. Because you had a life. You've been here for, is it a year?
2 years.
Yeah. So yeah, some definite folks that you know.
I mean, Gisela doesn't really have a social life. Like everything she's got is work.
Right, but you
and
are
if not
also
work at the shop, it's
the
side
face,
work.
Right? And
Yeah.
But you're the face of the general store. Everybody comes in and sees you, meets you, and whether or not you necessarily parasocial relationship kind of shit, like
she's recognizable. Yeah,
Right.
like. But I don't know if she has like friends she goes and hangs out with because she's kind of just.
That's fair. Yeah, and especially because at
busy.
this point, especially this age, it's like, well, no, I'm off getting married and having kids, or or they're a suitor, or yeah, that's true. Cool. Any other specifics?
Come make friends with Isabel.
Yeah. Because eventually Cloak obviously returns after petting all the dogs. It's like, and I imagine Cloak actually probably knows where all the dogs are in town. It's like every family that has dogs, like, I'm going to make a quick little tour, a little stop, and also, hey, now that the bridge is here, now I can cross and see all the the dogs over there.
Farm dogs.
Farm dogs. See all the porches where the dogs are?
Oh, yeah.
Isabel can know where all the dogs are.
I would. Oh, I didn't know they had a dog. Cool. But yeah, otherwise, any other specific notes for the evening?
Just keep a low profile.
Sure. Especially after the run-in with Ike is like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just going to keep serving drinks and stay over here.
Let me think. Can't think of anything specific.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you guys kind of wrap up, the evening progresses into, proper night, and, the more reasonable folks who are going to be up for mass in the morning head out, and then a little bit later the rest of the good Christian folks who will be up for church in the morning leave, and then the degenerates finally leave. Things kind of wrap up for the night, notably for Theo and Isabel, because you will be there until closing time. Mortimer does not get quite as sloshed as that first night, and the Royal Society leave together with Ike and a few of the cowboys, basically, and head up. The evening kind of ends. Gisela, you go home. Your parents are probably already passed out with the children. Theo getting home to Catherine and Valoja, who are dead asleep, but you have pretty hefty pockets after this evening. I think Isabel too, but not enough worth adding another resource dot. But it was a productive evening for them, and for Cloak, going up with I imagine at some point you gather up the Maroons and make a group trek back. Yeah. Make sure everybody's accounted for.
Yes, exactly.
And fortunately tomorrow is Sunday, and so for those who were drinking, have a night to sleep it off. And that is where April 26th will end, and I can come over to Conca, and cool. I can make it the next day.
Yay!
Because I am dead set on keeping track of what day it is.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Wait, hang on. Oh yeah. Luna full moon. Cool. But yeah. And so that of course takes us around to Sunday. And we'll talk about that next week. Though I will note this may also be, unless there's like specific stuff you guys want to jump into immediately, we may do a little time skip here. We'll talk about it after the fact, but because in terms of major events, the Royal Society are going to spend a little bit to set up the telescope, and then as the moon is starting to clear up, that's when they'll actually start to do some recordings and stuff like that. But if we do want to have some scenes where you guys like experiment with magic and talk about what you can do, especially after Cloak made his offer of telepathy, and Isabel's like, hey, what a party without getting drunk. Because I am 100% expecting that we're going to have some let's experiment with magic, and it's totally not going to go wrong.
No, it's not going to be no problems.
Yeah, so
I'm going to keep trying to curse people.
I specifically was like, no, she's actually going to lie to Gisela just because I want Ash to have a reason to curse her or somebody. Yeah, but cool.
Just a little one.
Just a little one. Yeah, so it's just dropping your wallet into
just
a puddle.
A little baby curse.
So, cool. With that, I think we'll wrap up the evening and the session. As always,
cool.
Thank you everybody for joining us. It is always a blast to have you with us, whether live on Twitch or watching on YouTube. Though, obviously, YouTube guys, we can't see your chat, so come by Discord, eatinto.space, and come hang out with us. We have a couple different channels where you can talk about the past episodes, and if you're watching this and it's been like, man, this has been out for a year or a couple months or whatever, you are totally welcome. Come by. We have a channel literally set aside for talking about old episodes, and we will happily relive these episodes with you. Remember that time that Cloak did that thing? we're here for you. And of course, if you just want to come by and ask questions about how mages run, or check out bird pictures, or what was this? We had baby otters. Yeah,
baby otters today.
Baby otters were the big thing this week. So yeah, come by.
Bats were the big thing this week.
If and to throw it out there, if you need some folks to just hang out with, we're there for you.
Oh yeah, come on, anytime.
Super nerdy. So be aware of that. But yeah.
Anybody watching ain't afraid of that shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So unless you went to math camp, in which case you might be too weird for us. Sorry. That discussion happened off stream, didn't it? Whoops.
Holy gatekeeping.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh, no.
So yes, please come by, hang out with us. We welcome you, both arms wide open. Come get a hug after you get your vaccinations.
Creed style. With arms wide open.
Oh, and then, of course, if you want to support us monetarily, including
song, Chris, come on,
including Ralph's off-the-cuff singing, that's
Patreon.com.
I'll
sing some shit. I'll sing some shit for you.
Patreon.com/occultistanonymous or staylucky.club. Thank you very much, guys. And if you're watching this on Twitch, tomorrow Craig and I going to go punch Nazis on Gehenna Gaming's channel, 8 p.m. Eastern time, twitch.tv/Gehenna Gaming for Saturday night one-shots. So also, if you're watching this and you're trying to keep up and you're kind of feel like you're behind, come by, hang out with us. Literally going to be showing off how to play mage to some other folks who have never played mage before. And Craig is going to be there to be my malicious, totally friendly mentor type dancer. So yeah, we have an artist, we have a dancer, we have a debutante con woman thief, and a priest philosopher stuff, and we're going to a Nazi castle.
This is some fucking hood rat French Revolution shit. I'm into it.
Yes. 36?
French Resistance, not French Revolution.
This is so good.
They don't go, but so high.
It's going to be very good. There will be many a Nazi punched for their terrible, terrible occult investigations.
Arrows on both sides, huh?
Nope. Fuck Nazis. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.